Last year, ram raids dominated the headlines. The incoming government promised to crack down on organised crime and gang violence. But only a couple of weeks into the new year, gang violence has erupted. 2 Michael Hill jewellery stores have been robbed in broad daylight in as many days. And the security of supermarket staff has been put under the spotlight after a staff member was stabbed. The new Minister for Police, Mark Mitchell, joins us now. Minister, thanks for coming in this morning.
Good morning, thanks for having me.
This is a big start to your year then. Have you had any briefing from the Police Minister about gang tensions?
From the Commissioner, so...
Sorry, the Police Commissioner.
Yes. So, yes.
You are. It would be weird if you were briefing yourself.
That's right. Yeah, look, I'm in constant contact, obviously, with the Police Commissioner. Yes, we have been talking about the gang tensions recently between the mongrel mob and the Headhunters. The expectation is that the police are policing, in particular, the mongrel mob, because it appears that on the face of it, they were the instigators of that incident. But I just want to say that, look, in the last couple of months, we have seen a big change in the way that the police are actually dealing with gangs. We've had 2 big gang tungies. We've had the Headhunters that travelled from Auckland to Foxton. Police dedicated a lot of resource to that, including the police helicopter Eagle, and the feedback from the public was that they felt safe and that was well policed. We had a second one with the Black Power in Whakatane, and if you contrast a couple of months earlier when you had the mongrel mob take over one of our provincial towns of Podiki, and then the way and basically the gangs were running the place. In Whakatane, there was a much bigger police presence, and they actually policed the gangs the way that we expect and the way the public expect our police to deal with that. So
just on this latest incident then, this is some Headhunters members who, or a senior Headhunter member who was allegedly assaulted by mongrel mob members.
Correct.
Does this appear to be a wider club issue? Is it likely to inflame the gang tensions, or is it an individual case? Are you aware of where it stands?
Well, it's likely to inflame that gang tension and conflict and between the gangs, but my message is quite simply this. In this case, it appears that the mongrel mob were the instigators. The alleged offenders have been apprehended by police. My warning would be that if the gangs feel like they want to carry this on in the public, then the police are going to have a very strong response to that. So leave it with the police's hands, they'll deal with it. The problem that we've had in this country over the last 6 years, it's been a very permissive environment. The gangs have been operating with impunity. The incoming government have been very clear, is that we want that to change. We want the public to feel like our police are controlling the streets and not the gangs.
And I know that is within your 100-day plan too, but a few days ago in the Christchurch Emergency Department, in the waiting room, there were 2 mongrel mob members who got into a fight with each other. Now, there was a solution at the end of last year to increasing assaults in and around hospitals, which was to put more security staff in these areas, but that's only going to last through until the end of February. Are security guards increasingly having to do the job of police, and does that worry you?
It does worry me, and you would have seen that the Health Minister, Shane Reti, had a response over the holiday break in terms of making sure there's more security personnel in our emergency departments. The sad thing is that our medical staff in those departments are having to face aggressive people and violence just about on a daily basis. That was very effective. That basically reduced the amount of incidents by about half. But the reality of it is we need to be a country that we don't have to have security personnel in our EDs. Where the public,
our supermarkets.
Or our supermarkets.
A supermarket security worker was stabbed at the weekend.
Absolutely. And look, we've got supermarket workers now that are wearing body cameras for their protection. We know that we've got a big problem to deal with. We are committed in dealing with that, and we've got a big work program this year to make sure that we get on top of it.
You're working with these supermarkets, I understand, in trials of facial recognition technology. Is that something you support? Do you think that's going to help in policing?
Yes, it is. Look, I am supportive of any measure that is going to make, number one, the staff that are working in retail safer, so they can get out of bed and go to work knowing that they're going to be safer, and also the customers and their experience that they're having. So there's a whole range of different responses that we've got or we're looking at, and but absolutely around facial recognition, those types of, they've been used internationally, and now we're in a position where actually we have to respond, and that may be part of the response.
What about a beat policing. You've spoken about that, about having more police visible on the streets. How realistic is that? How realistic is it to increase police numbers enough that they would have the luxury of being able to just walk around on the street?
Well, so firstly, can I just say that on Friday night I worked night shift with Section 1 out of Auckland Central and the beat section, and they are doing outstanding work. We want to see, we've been very clear as the incoming government, we want to see more police officers highly visible in their communities on the beat. Number one, they're a great deterrent. Number two, they give the public a sense of security when they actually see them and when they're visible.
And does the Commissioner think that that's actually achievable?
Yeah, absolutely, and he's fully supportive of that as well. So you're going to see our government have big focus on pushing resources to that front line. So that they feel better supported, so they've got the numbers, and so they actually can continue to ramp up and in terms of that highly visible presence in the public.
Finally, to just the Michael Hill Jewellers, this 2 smash and grabs in as many days over the weekend. Fog cannons were set off in both instances, but I just wondered, are they doing this because there's still some kind of market for being able to sell this jewellery off, and do you think that there is concern in that area? Is there any way that we could be tightening restrictions up around second-hand sale of jewellery so that this is not, you know, something that they feel like they can go and do and make money from it? Well,
number one, I mean, I was talking to Rob Fyth a lot, who's the chairman of Michael Hill Jewellers in New Zealand, and they have responded and they've actually taken some measures of their own. One of those was the of putting ballistic glass into the shop, which has meant that you know, it's very hard to actually break the cabinet. And that attack yesterday, which was in my patch, it was in the Silverdale Mall, it failed. The police response was outstanding, it was immediate, it was decisive, and the alleged offender was in custody within 20 minutes. Look, I did a welfare check of the shops up there. Without a doubt, this hits the communities hard, and you know, we're committed to getting on top of it. Like I said, it's been a very permissive environment over the last 6 years. We have to make that environment a lot less permissive for these offenders.
Police Minister Mark Mitchell, thank you very much for your time this morning.